Boom. It's 2 o'clock, guys. It's a Sunday. You know what that means? You're probably just waking up. No, that's not what that means. You should have been awake a long time ago. You'll be burning the day away. Today, I'm going to be repairing. So, that was the worst intro I think I've ever done. Today, we're going to be repairing a. I hope I'm saying this right because I've never really seen the show. I'm assuming since Naruto or Naruto, is that the American way? Is that like the white way to say it? Naruto? Naruto. This is Baruto. Since I'm Bill Maru, we're gonna call him Baruto. Burrito. We're gonna fix Burrito's shoulder. No, this is I don't even know who this is. Like, is this his dad? Or is this like his brother? I don't know. I don't know anything. This shirt says it all. Big thanks to my friend Allison for getting me this shirt with Ralphie. Um, after he said some naughty words. What's going on, soul brother? Everybody, if I should how do I do that? Where's my phone? I need to get like better at being able to pop things up on the fly on here because like when people show up, I'd like for them to be able to. So go follow this fella right here. If you look down there in the bottom right corner, you'll see this very flattering photo of myself as a crazy sorcerer, what are you, Toychanic Supreme, I guess we'll say. That's he came up with that. Soul Brother came up with the idea of this cool magician version of myself, like Doctor Strange, and he drew that. God dang it. Okay, this way. This way. Oh wait, here we go. It's over in this corner. I can't do it. It's right. Everything's backwards. It's right there under Spider-Man. Jesus. Cool. Maybe some sour cream will hold it together. Oh, thank you, Ninth Archer Innovations. I get it. Burrito joke. My man. My newest patron as well. Thank you so much. I see Owen Herman's in here. He's a patron. You guys are freaking awesome, man. You guys are really making my year. Making it better and easier on me to get all this stuff. I've actually started. There's another cool thing I was doing. My friend in our Discord actually told me about the Amazon like partner. I don't know if it's partners or associates program or something, but I can like link you guys to the tools and stuff I use if I buy it on Amazon. And if you guys, I guess, click those links, then I get I guess I get something back. I don't know, but still pretty cool. And it's shorter links, which is even better. So that's just convenient for people. But anyways, something cool. I don't know. I actually don't know about all that stuff. It's always weird whenever I have to go through the whole finance spiel and stuff. It's kind of gross, but that's how the world works, right? Okay, so let's get into this. Kind of cheating today a little bit. Affiliate link. Thank you, Grumpy Cricket. Appreciate it. Samurai Chris, there's another patron in the house. What's up? How you doing today, Chris? I feel like I haven't talked to you in a long time, and I miss you. As I was saying, I'm kind of cheating a little bit in the way of I've already started something on this. I kind of messed it up. Kind of messed up a little bit, just a little bit. I was utilizing. So here's the original peg that was in there, and I drilled the hole too small, and I was twisting a screw into it. You guys have heard me probably go through this a million times, but with these little screws here, I guess I got used to using the bigger ones on almost everything, and I haven't done a smaller repair like this. I guess it feels like it's been a while. But anyways, these are very. It's super weird how they're super strong and super weak. You know, like an ant can lift like a ton of its own weight or whatever, like 2 or 3 times its own weight, but it could also be squished like that. It's kind of like that. Not don't go killing ants. I don't know why that's funny to me. Oh, anyways, yeah, let's get back to it. So these screws are really great as reinforcement pieces when they're straight in. However, and I always tell you to do this, so I kind of broke my own rule, but this one kind of snuck up on me. Anyways, I drilled the hole too small. I was twisting it. I got all the way in, which is very misleading, and then it snapped off. So it snapped off. I tried drilling through again. A lot of times I don't like doing that because it's just gonna make matters worse, as it did. And so this peg's kind of worthless now. So what I did was I took I guess this is an SHF or a Figma, either way, an old like kind of T-joint thing from the that basically connects the waist, and these would be for hip joints. And so I shaved this all the way down, and you can see nice little pop, twists all the way around without popping out. This is perfect. This is exactly what we want. So basically, I just had to make a new peg. Man, it's really good, and I think this is probably gonna be better than the other one. It has to be, because that's the only way I'm gonna send it back. Um, so what I'm gonna have to do now is I'm gonna drill into this guy, just like I was doing this one here. We'll cut it off at the right um, length, and then we'll reattach it to. This is the original piece right here, and then this will connect here, and then we'll put it on the arm, and he'll be all happy to be able to move again. And then I'm also today going to be repairing my classic. This is kind of what I guess this and the Spawn Thigh mod, I guess, kind of put me on the map for some people. This is the classic Mafex Spider-Man. I think this is too big, but I just wanted to do this, and I'm not going to force it because that would be stupid. But man, how funny would that be? It's almost the same length. It's just a little longer. Baruto. That one's free, guys. That one's free. I'm not trying to break any copyright laws here, but just made a new character. All right, let's get to it. Let's see who else is in here. Oh my gosh, you guys are just going crazy. Esteban Barraza, what's up, man? Glad you're here. Always good to talk to you. Always good to see you. Yeah. Bill's setting up hard mode for himself for the extra challenge. Man, sometimes I do some, I don't know, man. It's so funny. Oh my gosh, guys. Since you're here, I'll just air out some grievances real quick because you guys are special. You're fam. Usually I would save this for the more private chats, but whatever. Who cares? Gosh, something that's been bothering me lately is I posted a video on, and this is not a knock to anybody. This is just me. This is a me problem, not a them problem. But a lot of people so I posted a Instagram reel, which I found is a really great way to get exposure, man. It's crazy. But anyways, I put up a video on how to tighten joints utilizing the super glue trick. You know, you add a little dab right here. Let's say this was too loose, right? You add a little dab of glue here. You pop that in, and you can twist it around, and wait for it until it tightens up. Just make sure you don't stop moving it so it doesn't stick. It just hardens the adhesive. I was trying to say adhesive. So the adhesive cannot bond to both halves or both plastics. It just needs to bond to this one piece right here or inside. But anyways, everybody's got an opinion. Everybody wants to, and I feel like this is just with any post, wherever everybody wants to look like the smartest person. Everybody wants to look like they know something you don't or know more. And I'm just like, man, just kind of, I do appreciate, it's not that I don't appreciate somebody saying, hey, the way I do it is this. I would actually appreciate that more, but it's always like, hey, instead of ruining $100 figure, you should use this. And people always suggest this Kiki stuff. And right now I've got somebody literally sending me, I can even show you the screenshot of it. Somebody is literally sending me a figure that Kiki's ruined, that they ruined utilizing Kiki's. I'm not saying Kiki's ruined it. I do not trust the stuff. I don't know what it is. I don't plan on utilizing it because I have found a way that that I like, and so I'm gonna use that. Let's see here. I'm not trying to call this guy out because it's unfortunate he made a mistake, but says I tried to add a layer of plastic. Look at that. Add a layer of plastic with Kiki to this little peg because it kept falling off, and after it dried I went to a bicep swivel and it snapped on me. So That sucks. But anyways, I posted my video on there, and people just it's got a lot of like I don't know. I think 1,000 is a lot. That's a lot of but it's a lot of interaction in there. So that's what I like seeing. But it's the interaction. Some people are like, "Hey, thanks for the tip," and I'm like, "No problem." But it's like, oh man, it's like everybody's got to put in their 2 cents on something. And what worries me is when I coming. Oh man, I think my stream just died on me. Are we back? Can everybody see me? Looks like the stream might have actually cut out just then. Uh, hey guys, welcome to Sunday's stream. All right, I don't know what happened. They said the chat disconnected, and then all right, cool, right on. Let's get going then. I've rambled enough. See, the internet knew. It was like, shut up, dude. Don't. I feel like that's a way of spreading negativity, but it was like airing that out, and it was just like yeah, Ori, what's up, man? My man Ori Omega's in here. Yeah, cool. And oh man, look at all these guys. There's a lot of good people in here. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and drill a hole through this right here. Sorry for rambling. I'll probably talk about it more in the yeah, it's the Festivus. Here we go. All right, so let's go ahead and we're gonna grip not with these. Get this ugly Spider-Man out of the way. Man, I don't know. I was going through some figures the other day, and somebody was showing me like how tall the SHF Deadpool was, and I was like, I looked at mine, and they had it next to this Spider-Man, and I just realized I was like, this Spider-Man is not for me. This is a not pretty figure in my eyes. I guess this is like I'm not sure. God, his like jaw's all mooshed. Anyways, that's why he's over here. All right, let's go ahead and we're gonna drill a hole straight down the center of this guy here. Make sure I got this straight because this is actually at an angle. And usually, you know, I like to go in from the bottom, but today we're going to go into the top. Try to keep that straight in there. Slight shifting around. All right. Now, I want to say that this is the same drill bit I was using before. So, since I've got it started, I'm going to use a slightly larger drill bit. That is floppy, boy. This happened not too long ago with one of these keys. These Dremel keys are amazing. You just have to make sure that you got everything set up correctly in here. Keep an eye on this, because if it looks like it's like flopping out at a V at the end, you do not want that. Not to mention, I'm kind of leaning towards these more than I am with the finger drill bits, just because you get so much more drill bit. You get so much more bit. And I bought a lot of these on Amazon as well. You can buy them in these little packs right here. There's, gosh, I don't know. There's 10 of them in here. And also, I've got like a little magnet strip right in front of me. And so I can hang all my tools on it. It's pretty cool. And those actually just clip on, so it's nice to have those there. All right, let's see if our screw is going to go through. We don't want to go too crazy. Oh, Ori's in there letting everybody know that we are doing a Discord wide top 10, and so it'll be interesting to see what everybody has chosen over the year as their top 10s. Man, yeah. Ninth Archer said he joined because he likes my rambling, so I appreciate that. Fun. Fun. Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate that because I can't help. I mean, you kind of like doing this is weird because so I'm sitting here, I can instruct you, but sometimes there's only so much you can instruct on, and then you gotta keep talking because if you don't keep talking, people are just gonna get bored. They're like, "What's going on? What's up, Loco Lou? What's popping?" I'm telling you about to pop this joint into this arm whenever I'm done with it. Let's see. So we've got And while I'm doing it, I want to make sure that I'm getting some photos from my client here. Let me show him. I told him I was doing it live, but sometimes people aren't available. All right, how short do we want to make this? Looks like it's like almost right down to the edge here. I bet you, let's see if we can, how far does this go down? Oh yeah, that's good. Kind of broke my rule there. I did not use a plastic bag. I'm in a hurry, guys. Look at this. All right, let's see if we can. Sometimes after I've already drilled all the way through, I'll just use my hand, like just kind of finger drill that in. Just since I clipped that edge off there, it'll pinch, and we don't want that stopping our screw from going in. Let's see if this works. This is perfect. This drill bit here is what I'm going to use from now on. I don't mind starting it out with a bit of a smaller drill bit because, like I said, it allows you to stay in the center a bit better, and then it'll act as a guide for a larger drill bit. So I enjoy that. I like it being accurate. Let's see here. Although I went in from the top here, and I don't think I'm as centered as I wanted to be. Not that it'll matter. You won't even see it, but, you know, it's not like it's breaking out the side or anything, but. All right. Looks like this is doing what we want. Let's back up the tracks a bit. All the way out. All right. Let's straighten this guy out. And we will coat it in some JB Super Weld. And then we'll reinsert. There we go. Just got to straighten this guy out just a little bit because it's almost long enough to go all the way through the peg, but we just want to make it just a little bit longer. I think that'll do it. It's looking good. Let's bend this down here, give us something to hang on to. All right. So go ahead and we'll get it bare. That's not the right one. That would have sucked. That's the old one. Yeah. So we'll start here. Get her started. Grab our JB Super Weld. Sit there and add a little healthy dollop on the end there. Let's grip it. Let's go ahead and start twisting that in. And we can see from the other side how far in we are. Looks like we've got some threading coming out now. That's pretty good. I like that because I believe I drilled in fairly far in this guy, so we can just drill in to this as well. Let's wipe off any excess super glue. You ever know how to spell a word but you always mispronounce it? All right, so now once again, let me take another snapshot of this since we're on the fly. Come here, you. There we go. Let's add another drop of our JB Super Weld. Grip this tight. Grip it by the screw, not by the plastic. Never grip it by the plastic to twist it back in because that could break your hold. You don't want to do that. All your hard work could come undone. All right. Let's just twist this guy in here. Go all the way in. Let's go ahead and get a grip on this until this stops moving, excuse me. And I believe This is pretty much exactly where we want it. What I might have to end up doing, though, I might have to end up... Sometimes I've got to go back in. It's hard with these because the reason these break, and I've mentioned this to you before, is because it's like 50% is connected on these, and that's why these pegs tend to break, because they're not fully connected like in the center, like a Marvel Legends joint, like the wrist or ankles or any of those joints. You'll notice that it's one solid piece, like they're connected solid in the middle. And I can actually show you what I'm talking about, just in case if I'm not painting a clear picture for you. This is basically what you're used to, in a kind of a Marvel Legends or Black Series or any kind of basic joints. They've got this right here will stick through, and this is your disc, so this is how it hinges. And you got a peg, so that's where your wrist or your ankle or whatever. Sometimes elbows will go into, especially if they're pinless. But with a import joint, you're dealing with, and let's see if this will show up for you on there. You'll notice how the top, like this half, it's very split. See what I mean? So it's very split, and that's why those things break so often, because you've only got a 50% connection there. Generally, whenever they're connected, I guess it doesn't even add any support when those are together, because if you're going to break that piece off, it's just going to break off. So what happens here is I attempt to recreate that, and you'll notice, see if I can show you. Gosh, that's more finger than it is. Showing you guys what that is. Okay, so you'll notice, see that bump that's popping out right here? There's almost like a bump. And so I'm probably going to have to go in and shave that down, because if I was to try to push those halves together, it's probably going to push one perfectly and the other one's stuck, because there's this bump anomaly right there. So I've got to go in with probably a drill bit to try to trim that down a little bit. But other than that, it should be fine. So we're going to let this glue dry a little bit. It looks like a little bit kind of leaked out, which is okay. That's not going to hurt anything, but if we can wipe a little bit of that off, it'll save that. Okay, so while this dries, we are going to make a new Spider-Man wrist joint. Yay! And I usually use this red plastic pieces, and I actually gave my last easy ones to my buddy Anthony. He was working on a custom, and so now I have to actually find something to use these. So what we're going to do here is we'll remove the peg, and you'll notice, I don't know if you guys have ever gotten a look at if you don't own a Mafex Spider-Man or whatnot, these pegs, this is it. There's nothing to them. They're just a straight little peg. They might have a little bit of a lip at the end, but they're super thin, and once again, they're 50-50 connected. So that's kind of where we run into that. So what we have to do in order to remove this from the wrist, we got to heat it up just a little bit. And this looks to be like the comic cell shaded version, which it doesn't matter which version, they all break on these guys. So we'll do this. Let's see. Did you, it says Soul Brother lost audio. Can you guys hear me? Man, I can't remember having this many issues with the stream. Is it, can you guys hear me all right on your end? Let me know in the comments, please. We're going to go ahead and remove this. Okay, Chris hears me. All good. Come on, Soul Brother, what are you doing? He's on that Hawaii audio, man. It just relaxes itself. Whoa, that bounced really high. I've never seen one bounce that high. I just dropped this joint and it fell and bounced up really high. So I use like these little these end nippers here, and I'll get a hold of right on the seam, and I'll show you, kind of like right in the center. here, and you can just kind of, let's see if that'll show up. Gosh, my fingers are awful looking, sorry. This cold weather's been wrecking on my hands. There you go. I don't know if that showed that, but it popped off just like that. And then you can drop it on your keyboard. Crap. Oh, and you can unplug your thing. It's not gonna matter. I don't need that anyways. So yeah, actually, what I usually will do is I'll usually take a little dab of. Let's see. Oh, I can find. There it is. So I take a little dab of adhesive, and a lot of times the Loctite gel is good for this. So I take some pliers. Oh no. Tell you what I can do. Actually, this works a little bit better. I'll take one of my picks here, or punch, whatever you want to call it, and I'll just kind of put that on the end like so. Find the and this is only if like you really need a reference for these things. Sometimes if you don't have an extra one, or if you have to do the whole thing, or so I'll put a little dab of gel super glue on the end here, and then I'll take the peg that's broken off, if assuming you have the peg that broke off, find the end that usually has what it looks to be like a stress mark, and you just kind of just glue it back on. Now this will not hold if you were to try to put this back on, but what this does is once this dries, it gives you a visual to work next to, because a lot of times what I do is I make my own joints. So, and how do I do that, you ask? Well, generally I'm fortunate enough to have a bunch of I used to buy joint lots all the time on eBay, which doesn't seem like you can find these very easy anymore. Pretty sure some of you 3D printers out there could probably make bank off of this idea. I think one guy is out there actually selling these. I don't know how well a 3D printed joint will hold up, but man, if you're a 3D printer, dude, you could probably be doing all sorts of crazy stuff with this, which would be awesome, man. I would love to get into 3D printing. I think I've mentioned this like 1,000 times, and be able to do this. Okay, so what I have that I can work with, what you want to do is try to find something, obviously, that's of similar color. And I've gone from utilizing just a block of plastic and just shaving it from that, which I know does not sound like it's not a novice procedure. It's a little more difficult. Not to mention the size of these is insanely small. So, oh, my man Rocker Josh is in here. He finally made it. He said, "Welcome, Josh. So glad you're here. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate you." So yeah. So what we can do is I have something like this, but you'll notice this joint here, the problem we run into is that, like, you see how thin that inside is? Like a cat hair on my thumb there. It's super thin. So in order to to make this fit, I'm trying to make sure I don't put my elbow in super glue, you have to basically shave it down. And I don't think there's enough to shave down because of how thin that is. So what I generally will do is I'll take these old, I think these are Figma. These are Figma or SHF. I'm not sure. But you basically have to use the opposite side that you would want to use. And what I mean by that is, since we are recreating the piece that has a hole in it, right? So here's our peg. Okay. The other one had a hole in it, which is generally, like, let's just use this as an example. Well, you'll notice here that doesn't fit. It's too big. So, and this is as close to the red as I can get, unfortunately, because like I said, I gave away my matching colors. So anyways, we have this right here. this is not nearly as shallow or deep. I guess this is actually more shallow. It doesn't have that big open gap, that area, that big wasted area as we were seeing right here. Notice that there's a peg and then it's just freaking scooped out. So what we have to do now is basically I take this right here, and what I will generally do is I'm going to utilize that peg that's in the center there to be my point of contact. So I'm going to start by drilling a hole all the way through here. And we'll do that now. We'll utilize our smaller drill bit. And I'll show you my process on this. So, see if I can show you here. So drill all the way through. Yeah, Dragon Eyes 69, leave my toys alone. I love that name. Says, yeah, remember D-Star Toys made the Spidey replacement wrist pegs, also made SHF Deadpool holsters and .50 cals and Mafex Wolverine comic claws. So there you go. I don't know how much the guy was charging. Possible could very well be cheaper than what I have to charge to do this, because this is a lot more work than a lot of people want to do. And it might be as simple as finding that dude and buying those parts and go for it. But if you don't want to spend any money and you want to do it yourself, then I can show you how to do that. Or if you want me to do it, I'm also here for you for a small fee. But like I said, if you can get a hold of that guy's joints and they work really well, man, I say go for it.
Sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
Oh, thanks. I like it when the Amazon Echo picks up on things that don't make sense. Okay. So the reason I like utilizing these as well is because these are so strong. The plastic is crazy strong. Even after you shave it all the way down, it's really, really strong. Another thing we want to go ahead and do is, instead of having to shave down a ton of this this peg here, you can use a razor blade and just stay straight along the edge here. Just kind of be careful, move real slow. You can cut it nice and flush like that. And so what I do first is, I want to make sure that I can get this to fit down on this peg, or at least get close to the right size hole, because before we actually go to fit it, we're going to have to Dremel down this side right here as well, because this sticks out way too far. But we have to utilize this peg piece right here as our plug-in part, just because there is like that slight indentation all the way around it. But so here we go. We're gonna go ahead and take this other drill bit, which is a little bit bigger, since we've already made this hole here. I'm going from the other side, and right now it's just basically like the size. It's about a 1 mil, maybe a little 1.1 millimeter size hole, and we're gonna have to go almost the size of the actual peg that's on here. So you could probably even utilize that peg as your guide as to how big your hole needs to be, well, once you're done for your final product. Yeah. So let's go ahead and keep shaving this. And I just kind of stay in the center, and I just kind of, go around like this. And just slowly makes the hole a little bit bigger. And the reason why I don't use a bigger drill bit on that right now is because I don't trust, like, it would suck if you drilled in and you made the hole too big. Then you're like, oh man, I gotta go back and either fill it with sculpt, or fill it with some glue to make that hole smaller so the peg will fit flush, and that doesn't sound fun to me. And I'd rather not fill this with a bunch of glue. Hey, Brian Pena, what's up, man? Currently right now, we are working on a Mafex Spider-Man joint. I'm showing the crew Maru and newcomers and family and friends my process on how to create a new peg, essentially a new peg half, I guess. Once again, we're going to have to keep making this larger. And this is the process. It's not very exciting, but patience is the key. Patience is definitely the key. And you want to kind of watch your drill bit, make sure it's not getting caked up with any plastic. Usually this stuff um, doesn't build up very much. This plastic is really good, man. It's like I said, it's a pretty strong PVC, I believe. Sometimes you'll see like this little piece, you'll start noticing it kind of, see that little flakes up on the side there. And so what you do is you can take a razor blade basically and just slowly, carefully, just notice how you're starting to cut that off, and you can cut that flush. Usually takes little to no pressure at all, so don't try to cut through, because you could cut through and cut your finger, but then you'll get that nice and flush. There's a lot more to this, what we're doing, but I'm just trying to kind of walk you guys through it as I would do it. All right, so let's kind of test again. And you can see here, so this is where we want, let's see, this is our center. This is where I want it to be. And you'll already notice that this is way too wide. It's too long. So what we can do is we can kind of swap over real quick. And this will help us out in the long run. We'll take a sanding bit like so. And I generally will start kind of from the peg. I'll go in just a little bit with this, like, kind of the sharper edge. And then we'll go around. It's good to go in longer, slower, even strokes. And the reason why I start here first is because if you don't start kind of digging in towards that peg, you'll end up with like a teardrop shape. So if you just start on the edge and start kind of going like this and towards the peg, you're, instead of a circle with a peg, you're doing this kind of teardrop, upside down teardrop shape essentially towards that peg. And that isn't gonna, it's not necessarily a big problem, but what happens is you, whenever that when this wrist fits down, you'll notice that it's scooped out in a spherical nature. If you were to try to put that down on a teardrop shape, it's not going to fit flush. You're going to have a little bit of gap, and then it could be loose. So whenever you're doing this, you essentially want to come in and then around, in and then around, and just be careful. It's another thing that you can fix, though, you know, after you're done, basically making this smaller around the edges, because basically we're just trying to make this diameter smaller, so it will fit in flush. But as you can see, and we've only had like a very small pass, you can see just the size difference here of how much we actually have to shave off. So that's where we are right now. So we're gonna go ahead and once again go back through. Like I said, a lot of what I do is not exciting or really glamorous, I would say. This is just you could potentially even call this the harder way to do this. And some people, I just kind of, this is how I like spending some of my time. I find find this kind of cathartic. It's relaxing for me. I'm creating something. I'm able to recreate a shape of something that broke, utilizing scrap plastic and making somebody happy. And I like doing that. So that's why I do it. Might say I'm the Michelangelo of plastic pieces. You also might never say that. Oh, I kid. All right, so let's go ahead, and you want to come in with like a razor blade ever so often to scrape away a lot of this plastic. It probably looks like, I know a lot of people get really nervous whenever I'm doing this. Man, if I was to tell you I've never cut myself, I'd be lying to you. I've only cut myself really, really bad. I want to say once or twice. Once really bad. It was bad. This was when I first started. It was the first and pretty much the last time I ever used an X-Acto blade. I have way more control whenever I just use a straight like this razor right here. Um, and my fingers are so calloused up. I should really like pick guitar back up because I think I'd be able to start off better now because all my fingers are calloused up. They don't look like gross, but there's definitely I don't get cut like I used to, like a lot of stuff. So I would tell you to err on the side of caution whenever utilizing a razor blade. These things can cut deep and they can cut deep really fast. So please, please, please always be careful with this stuff. I know a lot of us feel invincible until we don't. So be very careful with that stuff. Um, I can't tell you though that what happens to me often is when I'm working with something like this, like a punch or a screwdriver or whatnot, and I'm sitting there trying to get something out, and I slip and stab my finger. Oh God, I cannot tell you how many times I've done that. That hurts. That always hurts because it's a blunt object stabbing you and piercing the skin, and it's like bruises and cuts. It's like, whoa, it's the worst. Okay, so you can see we're starting to drop things. Okay. Take two. So we're getting closer to our shape and size here that we want. So we're going to go ahead and shave it around just a little bit more. And what we want to do really is get this outer edge, in my opinion. That's the one I like to do first, is this very outer edge. We want to make sure that that will fit, because if we can get that to fit and set down properly, then we can actually shave the rest of it off while it's already attached to the other half. So let's go ahead and shave this flat. And then also what you want to start doing is kind of coming in at an angle from the bottom going into the top, because you're making a half of a sphere, right? And this is another thing that you can do actually once you get it attached. But a lot of times I like to go ahead and start kind of shaping it up, because this, even if you hadn't shaped this side up yet, it can still fit fine. Because you're really concerned is the biggest concern is to make sure that from the area from the hole to the outer edge fits down flush, and this little part right here, this little part right there, that's what you want, because you don't want that to be too tight too, and you definitely don't want to force it to where you press it down so hard and it goes, you know. No, I didn't have to go to the hospital, Brian. I've never been that bad. No, but I was concerned. I thought I might need to have a stitch a long time ago. I think it was maybe my 18th or 19th birthday. I think it might have been my 19th birthday. Yeah, it was my 19th birthday. I cut myself. I was working at a deli. It was a really cool deli too. So where like we had a big flat iron grill and we cooked these awesome sandwiches and stuff like that. I learned a lot there. It's a place called Brick Walls Deli, and I love this place. Um, and you have to cut bread just like they do at Subway. You know, you can take a knife and you cut it. And I guess there's a Subway rounded maybe in the edge. Well, ours were really sharp, and I was just like, yep. And I still have a scar right here. I needed a stitch. It was just like that. I was like, oh. Sure enough, needed one stitch. One stitch. But that's the only time I've ever had to go to the hospital for a injury like that. That was that sucked. It hurt, man. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, stitch? Can I just wait? Like most chefs, they'll just put some super glue on it and just keep moving. But apparently that's not how it worked for me that day. All right, let's get this cut just a little bit more. We're trying to smooth it out a little bit more. And so since we've got this to the point where I'm pretty happy with how much area is from here to here, we're going to go ahead and start trimming it down a little more. I said stay in the center. kind of knock off some of the junk here that kind of flares up after you cut it and drill. Just kind of be careful and make sure you stay in the center. Don't start going too close to the edges. In one edge at least, because you can make it really thin and then it's going to be off-centered and you don't want that. Alright, this is looking pretty good. I'm thinking it's looking like the right size. So there's another little trick here that I do that always seems to make things work better and more flush. And let me get this. Some of this plastic kind of flares up sometimes, and that's what I was showing you a minute ago. So you gotta cut this junk off of here. Actually, we might be able to leave it on there for right now, and then I can, what I'm about to do, will probably get rid of it. Okay, so next, this is a little extra step that I strongly suggest you take. So you can take basically the burr bit. I can remember the name. You take a burr bit and let's get this on there. And so what I do, you don't want to go all the way through, but you can drill. Is this one too big? Hang on, let me make sure I got the right size. I can't remember if I use this size here or if I use the smaller one. I think I use that size, but let's just double check real quick before we do this. So this is an awesome trick. Oh no, let's definitely use this one. Okay, so a smaller one. You definitely want to use a smaller one, which I got to use my key for because it's a smaller insert. Put this on. Okay, so what this does, this is neat. What this will do here is basically you're going to recreate what the factory intended as well. You don't want to go all the way through to the end. You don't want to go all the way through. Basically, you're going to kind of drill in a little bit of the way here and then a little bit of the way here. And what that does is essentially it widens the outside, it widens the other outside, but in the inside, you basically create an hourglass shape. So when the peg goes in, first off, it gives it a little more ease to insert. And when it pops in, then you've got this smaller area where it can't pull back out, but it also has that open edge out there. So it pops in, it's nice and comfortable on the outside, and it rotates the way it's supposed to. So essentially you're creating an hourglass shape. So you basically go in from right here. And like I said, you don't want to go all the way through, because if you go all the way through, then you're just creating a hole. I'm using this smaller one here. There we go. It just creates a nice kind of a bowl shape right here and a bowl shape right here. And that should allow us to pop that peg in there, and then it doesn't have to come back out. It's pretty great. So that's just something that I picked up along the way, that after I did this so many times, I was like, man, there's got to be like a trick to this or whatnot. So just a little bell went off in my head, and I was like, oh, that's the ticket. Basically, I get that by looking at all this stuff. That's like whenever anytime like a new figure comes out, or if there's a figure with new engineering, and if I don't own one, then I like to buy one. Like you'll see me, like I'll buy a Fortnite figure or something like that, because Hasbro, let's face it, they don't use all the same engineering. We've seen, because in my opinion, my personal opinion, the Power Rangers and the G.I. Joe line have the best engineering, bar none. Doesn't mean they come with the best accessories, doesn't mean stuff like that, although they do, you really do get a bang for your buck on that stuff. It's really, really good. Anyways, what I'm saying though is that I want to know how they're built, so how can I utilize that engineering in another figure, or what's working? Like, I have to give Valiverse a lot of credit for their drop down joints. a lot of companies will put the same joint. So it's a peg with a hole, peg with a hole, and then a peg goes right through the center and they can twist. They drop down, right? Well, Valaverse actually, I want to say they have, it's like a peg, and instead of the hole, there's like an indention in it, and the other side is a peg. Or it's one with a hole and then one with, or two, like a peg on the outside. Anyway, it's just, I put up I did what was the name of the character? Looks like Yellow Jacket, Swarm or whatever, the bee guy. He's yellow and gray. I fixed one of those and I did like a little tutorial on it. It's awesome. Like, mad props to him for that. It was easy to fix. It fixed well. It repaired well. I wouldn't say that it was easy to fix because you always have to be careful and how you do all that stuff. But it repaired very well. Like Storm Collectibles, they're not like the easiest repair, but they definitely they repair well. I'm like Bill Macy's character. We were talking about this the other day. Bill Macy's character, the shoveler from Mystery Men. I was like, I shovel well. Well, I repair well. Some of, some of those figures repair very well, better than others. All right, so I'm gonna put this finger drill bit back in here since we just went through with our burr bit. Just want to make sure this is flat on the edges here. I can still see a little bit of that peg that was there before, and I'm just trying to make sure that this is going to be nice and flat, so when we do press it on, we don't have to take it back off. I'd rather not have to take it back off, but generally this thing's not going to fit down flush if it's not ready to go. So there's just one little piece in there that I want out. There it went. Okay, cool. Sometimes you just get a little flake of plastic that's kind of stubborn. It's connected there at the end and you're just not hitting it with your blades or your pieces. Okay, let's go ahead and make sure that the bowl's formed a little more. All right, I think that's pretty good. Now let's see if we can clamp this baby shut. All right, it's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and shave this just a little bit. A little more flat around the edges. Just because this one's a little bit longer. I don't want it to kind of dip down into the piece where it's supposed to be hinging. All right. So I hope that this is the right. I want to make sure that this is the right size. I can't tell if it's a little too small. Never be too sure or too careful. You certainly, because you have to get these things so thin that, like I said, if you force it shut, it could snap it, and you don't want to do that. I'm just trying to make sure that these are the right size. A lot of times I'll come in at an angle as well after we've made those little bowl shapes, just to kind of keep it centered. Okay. So maybe I did use the larger, I can't tell, maybe I did use the larger one, yeah, I did use the larger one. For this particular one, I would use the larger burr bit, just because I forgot that the peg on here is a little larger than usual. Normally, I would use the smaller one because a lot of the SHF repairs that I have to do are way smaller than this guy, but not this time. Either way, use one of these burr bits to, like I said, make that bowl shape on there. Either way, that one was just a little bit too small for this one. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I did all that work for basically a different size joint. There we go. All right. This is looking pretty good. I'm going to run my sanding bit over the bottom. Just to kind of flatten her out, make sure everything's nice and flat. Once again, we'll take our razor blade, go around the edge. And usually it'll cut any of this like excess plastic off fairly well. This razor might be slightly dull. I think I was using it for another project. A lot of times I'll keep them up on the table until they're really wrecked, but a lot of times I'll use them to open up packages as well because they're just hanging out up here. Doesn't take much to cut through tape. Okay, now let's pinch this guy shut. See what we got going on here. It's looking pretty decent. I feel like I should be able to... Oh yeah, look at that. I was able to close that with my fingers. Okay, so now we've got what looks to be like this. You can see there's a little bit of a divot in there, and that's okay. We'll take our pliers and we'll pinch that down a little bit. And now what we'll do, and you can see like the peg is kind of reaching out the top there. A little bit of plastic on there. What we'll do is we'll take our sanding bit and we will start shaping like so. So it'll be nice and smooth. And we're also going to need to shape this guy down too, because this peg is way too large for a wrist joint. And this can take a while, just because you want to shave this down nice and even. And be careful not to get too close. And we're going to shave this down to close to the same size, if not the exact same size. Let's see where we're at right now. Where did our piece go? It's not very long, I know that. Well, I had it over here and now it seems to have disappeared. That seems to happen a lot whenever I'm working over here. Okay, well, I know it's not very long, so we'll just... Something fell. Oh, I think that was a drill bit. Oh, well, we'll find it later. Just shape this. A lot of times I'll keep this length before I clip it, just because it allows me a little more control. Whatever I'm holding onto, and basically I just take this thing and rotate it, basically like, as I always say, like a rotisserie chicken. Just kind of rotate it in your fingers. And there's also a really cool Dremel device for this that you can actually set this in and you turn it on, and you could use both of your fingers to Dremel through, to just kind of shape it, which is very, very helpful. I need to rearrange a lot on my desk for stuff like that, because I'd like to have that like always set up. It's not even like it's hard to set up. It's very fast, but for the sake of the stream, I don't want to. It's one of those things where I should have it already set up, and I don't. Okay, we're getting there. Once again, make sure that it's a nice circular shape here at the end. This is looking pretty good. And luckily he did send me one of the hands. So let's go ahead and take our razor blade here. Let's trim off some of the plastic. Some of this junk that is just naturally occurs. Since you're shaping plastic, you're going to get, it's kind of a pink color of plastic since you're shaping it off and forcing it off. And we can always clean all this up later. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start trimming this down here. You could cut it if you wanted to. I feel like I have more control if I slowly sand this down. Let's just slowly sand this guy down. Let's see, I'm not sure. Gosh, I don't know where that piece went. It's super weird. I glued it on here. I wouldn't be surprised if it like stuck to me. Yep. Stuck to my arm. Found it. Found the piece. All right. So here's our piece right here. Hold it up to this camera. See if we can. It has become unhinged from time, y'all. At least we dropped the piece we don't need. Well, if you remember how long that was just now in the blink of an eye, we're getting closer. I have no idea where that went, and I'm not wasting your time or my time searching for it. I'm the worst about dropping stuff, guys. This is looking like it's in the right shape. Alright, let's go ahead and trim this down a little bit. We're almost done. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Alright. Just trying to get a little bit of this plastic off. There we go. Good. Let's flatten out the end here. Looking good. Let's give it a test before we do a final cleanup on it. There we go. I think I might have done it a little too small, a little too thin, which isn't a problem. We can put a little dab of any adhesive that you like on there. I made it just a little too thin, but not really that big of a deal. A lot of times, actually, what I will do is when I'm done with these, like I have right now, I'll take some of the gel and I'll put like just the thinnest little spot around the edge like this, and it adds almost like that kind of like that catch that's there at the end of it. But yeah, that's how you do it. I just kind of, unfortunately, I wasn't looking at my my reference piece there, and so I just went a little too thin. But I kind of like it when I do stuff like that on here because then it teaches you, question B. Well, what happens if you shave it too thin? This is what you do. You just put a little thin layer of glue on there. Let that dry, and that'll be perfect. A lot of times I'll use my soldering station kind of stuff like this, and I'll just clamp it in the center. Just let that kind of dry. While that's drying, though, we're almost done with Spidey there. We were almost completely out of the woods there, but like I said, just a little too thin. It's not a big deal. Next, we can get back to Baruto. I got plastic all over me. So we had attached this earlier. So let's go ahead. Tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and not clip that just yet because I want to make sure that we've got this set just right. We're going to take our... Oh, that's what fell earlier. It was my tiny drill bit. Oh, I see it. Yes. Okay. So we'll take this small drill bit here. Let's put it back in the key. See how everybody's doing today. Oh, yeah, there you go. There's just kind of people talking about, I love that you guys sit there and talk in the chat because I see a lot of good advice in these chats as well. So I'm really proud of you guys for that. That's really cool. It's awesome. What are we talking about here? What do y'all... Oh, Wednesday. That's the Addams Family show, huh? Just got the Zemo figure. Walgreens exclusive. Good figure. Nice. Good deal. Nothing better than grabbing a good figure, man. Oh, man, that mask figure from... What is that from? Pocket World? Oh, this thing right here. I don't know if you guys caught this. Make sure I don't get any junk on him. But I'm using... I had to make my own neck on this guy. But my buddy Anthony had printed these heads for me, and then my friend Ryan painted them because I can't paint. And I've got like, I want to say I've got like 5 of these heads or so. There's like this one, and then there's what else? I'm sure you guys have seen these floating around. They've been around for a minute. Ryan's been painting these for people for a long time too. And I imagine, like, now, it's funny, too, because now is, like, the time I would think that he would hop on here, but I could tell he's also burnt out on doing them. So if you didn't jump on that whenever he was doing them, I'm sure somebody else out there is doing them, but I don't know. That quality of paint right there is amazing. So thank you again, my man. Those are gorgeous. Back to the Baruto repair. So what I was talking about earlier, like we want to get rid of this kind of bump, this notch right here, because we want to make sure that this fits nice and flush. So what I do is I take my my drill bit and I just kind of saw a little bit back and forth. I want to say that we have some there's a little bit of glue on here. And I had to drill close in, so there's potential like part of the screw might be on there, which I'm hoping isn't. Sometimes some of that can pop in a little bit there. But I tried to drill through into the harder plastic instead of having it stick out, obviously, because we don't want to have to sit there and shave down a screw, which I have had to do before. But it just looks like we're going to have to sand this guy down a little bit. Let's see what's going on here. If I don't drop it, there we go. I need like a bib, like one of those things where like you shave, you like attach it to your neck and you put it against the window or the mirror, and so when pieces fall, you can't like lose it. So this is supposed to go on here. As we can see here, and it looks like it just... I don't know if that's going to clear it or not. I don't think it's going to clear it. So we're going to have to shave down that just a bit more. I'm just going to make it straight. I'm hoping I don't go too far. I really don't want to go too far on it. Let's check both sides here. Try not to hit the peg, the center peg at least, because you don't want that to get shaved. Then it'll be too loose. We could... Oh man, I just don't know if it's going to fit. Let's see what we got here. All right. I think that might work. I'm trying to see if I can clip that on or not. I think what I honestly, I think what I did was when I drilled through, I drilled all the way through, and I think I put it on the opposite side. I think it's actually supposed to connect right here. Oops. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I did. Which, I mean, all you have to do is shave this down. It was going to be the exact same thing, but I think that could have avoided any shaving like I'm having to do right now. But the hold is firm, so can't be mad at that. Not to mention, this shit side over here isn't actually even touched, so this might have actually worked out in my favor. All right. Feels pretty solid. Feels very solid. Let me clip some of this excess. There's like some glue and plastic and all that fun stuff. So let's get rid of that. I don't feel anything giving, so that's always good. Let's shave this here. Shave any of this excess, like I said, plastic out. Yeah, it's a very firm hold. And let's see if we can't pop this guy on now. I might actually have to use these for this guy. These are pretty tough. Make sure you center it up though before you do clamp down. That might need a little more shaving. What I could also do is shave this guy down if I needed to, and you'd never know that it's altered at all. Oh, actually, what I need to do is shave this. There we go. I think that might have actually been our issue right there. It's another thing you never know what's going to happen to. Whenever a piece of plastic breaks, it can warp the plastic as it twists off, and you end up with like really weird anomalies in your plastic, which is always a fun part to deal with. Just make sure this is clean, because even something caused it to break in the first place, and so you never know what it's going to be. Man, I had heck with that freaking Storm Collectibles Dark Side not too long ago. There was holes, like bubble casting holes or whatever, in almost every single peg of that like crotch piece, and that right there is a really strong, like there's a lot going on in there. Oh, Esteban, cool, you're playing the Ghostbusters game. I just bought that Ghostbusters game too. Pretty fun for 30 bucks. It's not a bad deal at all. Yeah, I think that will work. Let's try and shave this down just a little more. Like I said, I had to use a different peg for this as well, so half of this is factory, half of this isn't. Kind of having a Frankenstein a new joint. Let's see if that works. Can't tell if this is hitting where we want it to hit. Feels like it's just barely not hitting. So what I'll do, since it's got this weird kind of lip on it, we'll flatten it out around the sides, and that'll accommodate our new joint, and you won't be able to tell. Yeah, let's just, instead of making it like this thin lip on the end, we'll flatten this out. Alright, let's see how that works. I'm listening for like a very satisfying pop. That's what I want. It's really weird. Like it fits flush down, but it's not giving me the pop that I want. Another reason why I love these pliers. I think that's exactly what we wanted right there. Can't tell if like some of this got like squooshed a little bit here, and seems to be fitting properly. It's like, I think it's just a softer bit of plastic, and so whenever I pressed it down, you just don't get that pop because it's not coming apart or anything like that. It's swiveling, feels nice and snug. Cool. I'm not used to fixing Naruto figures, so I don't know. I never know if there's like a run in the plastic that's different or that's weird or something different, or you never know. With plastics, like I can give advice on one thing and it's like, oh, this didn't work. It's like, oh, because the plastic is completely manufactured differently. Shave off the end here. We don't want any kind of metal sticking out. You always want to be careful too. You don't want to sit there and just lay into this guy the whole time with your Dremel, because that heat will can heat up so much that it actually heats up your adhesive, and that's not good. We don't want that. Okay, so since we've got this to where we want it, actually, let me take a photo of this. We are almost done, guys. Almost done. Boom. And both sides. Click, click. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to take our arm. We're going to go ahead and run that through the heat. Oop. Shouldn't take much. It's a pretty thin arm. Starting to squish. All right. So take this guy here. Pop that in the arm. All right. Swivels the way we want it to swivel. Feeling good. All right, and also whenever you're putting this back on, don't forget it's got one of these little shoulder cup things. Get all this plastic off of them. And it looks like it goes in. Let's see the thicker side on top. Down she goes. I swear if I was to lose that. Oof. That made me so mad. Okay, just trying to make sure I got the right side here. I don't think there's any other side that can go on. I think you have to press it in like this. Yeah. And then we'll take this guy here. Should pop in. And there we go. Got our arm all set to go. This factory one's crazy tight. That's like spooky tight. I don't like how tight that is. It's too tight. But yeah, whenever the hard plastic's like, oof, I don't like that. That makes me nervous. I kind of want to pop that out, and I might shave it down just a little bit for him, just so he doesn't have to worry about this happening again. But yeah, there we go. So that's all set up. Next, I don't know. Let me see if this is dry. Yeah, it looks like it is. Let's test. So earlier we had this all set up. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna heat up this wrist. Pretty confident that's gonna be the right side or the right tension. This won't take long either. It's very thin plastic. Thank you, heat gun. Pop that in, and let's test our hand. Wow, that actually might be. Now it's too tight. Oh my gosh. All right, let's put this on an extremely low setting. Go around one time like that, real low. That looks. Gosh, a little tight. Also might get a little too long. Let's trim this down a little bit. I think, so I was talking about that teardrop shape earlier. I think that might be what's causing that to. That's crazy. A minute ago, it was just kind of in there. And now. Just kind of shape it up a little bit. Don't want to do too much. I think what it might have happened is like some of the glue might have just lowered a little bit. So it made this base a little tighter. Like I said, the original peg is like this straight piece. It's super weird. There we go. I feel like, golly, it's in there so good, but it's a little too tight for my liking. I don't want it to break again. Make sure it twists as well. You never know what's going to happen with these guys. I've done these. There we go. All right. There we go. That's what we want. Cool. All right. Good. That's only took a little bit of extra effort. The impossible just takes a little longer, right? Thank you guys for joining again today. I know that was it's always fun to see like what goes wrong or what goes right. I like it when they go right more. That helps me out. Helps everybody else out too. So yeah, cool. We got our arm fixed here. We got our Baruto arm fixed here. Wrist, shoulder, bada bing, done. Hope you guys had a happy Thanksgiving if you celebrated. If not, I hope you had a good time off. And I hope you got some time off. That always helps. A little bit of little bit of breathing room never hurts anybody. Um, and also, I'd like to just real quick make sure I get everybody here. Hang tight. I would just like to thank my patrons, and that is, of course, Esteban Barazza, Chrisman, Samurai Chris, Dave Wonder, Robert Enzo, Geek Mechanics, Owen Herman, and Ninth Archer Innovations. Thank you guys so much for your support. I cannot tell you like how much I appreciate that. It's awesome just seeing that generosity come through. It makes a big difference. Puts a little boost in, and it helps tremendously. It really does, because it's all going back into this. So thank you. Hope everybody, like I said, enjoy your Sunday. Have a good time. I'm gonna try to hop on the Patreon Discord and chat it up there. I've got a few other things that I'm thinking about working on. One thing being a big old quarter scale Ninja Turtle. I actually was fortunate enough to get a hold of this guy for really, really cheap, because he is in fact missing a knee. Well, he's broken. His knee's broken. This, I don't even know if I can repair this or not. And then we've got to fix this as well. But anyways, I might do that today on the Patreon chat. Hope everybody had a good one. Hope everybody learned something. I do have leftover pumpkin pie, Soul Brother, but I don't think it's going to make it there in time. I don't think it's going to make it to the end of the day, actually, now that I think about it. But love you guys. Take care of each other. And remember that the impossible just takes a little longer. Peace.